COVID, obviously, due to COVID-19 restrictions, it's not possible for Greytown Community Board to conduct this meeting with members and the public physically present. So all participating members count for the purpose of the meeting forum in accordance with clause 25B of Schedule 7 to the Local Government Act 2002. In accordance with clause 47A of the Local Government Official Information and Meetings Act 1987, this meeting will be recorded and made available on the Council's YouTube channel via a link on the Council website as soon as practicable after the meeting. Now, first of all, I have to say that there's under one extraordinary business. I do have an item of extraordinary business. I'd like to move that a recommendation for Council to hold a public meeting to clarify the reasons for the rates increase is considered under item 7.1 of the Chairperson's report. It was not included in the agenda because I was waiting to see if clarifying information released from the SWDC would resolve community concerns. And it can't wait until our next meeting due to the high level of public demand and the cycle of meetings which are designed for recommendations to flow through from the community board to council, which means it would miss the next council meeting. Do I have a seconder for this? Simone? Yes, thank you. I do have a seconder. I'm about to put the motion to the vote, so members, please unmute yourselves. All those in favour, where's Shelley? I can't see her. Yeah. Please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4. Those not in favour, please say no. Okay, the motion is. Alistair, did you say you weren't in favour?
We abstain.
You're abstaining. Thank you very much. The motion is carried. Is there any other extraordinary?
Yes, I just want mine down as an abstention as well.
Thank you.
Great.
Like Rebecca.
Rebecca, do you wish it to be recorded as an abstention?
That's what I said. Yep, I abstain.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other extraordinary business that needs to be added to the agenda? Are there any apologies? Okay. Everybody's here, so there's no apologies, so we can move forward. Are there any conflicts of interests with regards to anything on the agenda tonight? No?
No.
Okay, thank you. Any acknowledgements and tributes that anybody wants to make? No? Okay. So I'm going to move to public participation. John Boone has needed to withdraw. He's got a throat infection. So we just have one speaker this evening, which is Lee Carter, and she is going to speak to us, calling for support for a public meeting on rates.
So before you do that, Anne, could I just ask what John was going to talk about? Because he gave a very long, detailed presentation in the last community board meeting on the river, and that's now subject to people putting in their comments into the regional council. So I'm not quite sure what he was going to present that he didn't present last time, which was a fantastic presentation.
It was. I think it was just an update. Shelley, do you have anything to add?
No, I don't. I understood that he was willing to come along and be there to answer any questions that we may have had. I think that might have been his initial sort of, you know.
I think so. And I think the fact that there's no members of the public here and the fact he's not well, probably, have given him reason to decline. But it's not altered the submission in any way, Alistair.
Yeah, no, that was my point. So, he's had a chance to see the submission because it's a public document. So it would have been, you know, I'm sure he would have raised any comments that he had with us before this anyway.
I'm sure he would, yes. Okay, so Lee, you've got 5 minutes, including time for questions. The host will hold one finger up at 4 minutes to let you know that you've got a minute left. And at the end of 5 minutes, the host will hold up a T to let you know that your time is up. To indicate to members when you have finished speaking, please ask, are there any questions? Lee, you now have the floor.
Hi everyone, thank you. So thanks for allowing me to speak at such short notice on the urgency to hold a public meeting or public meetings on the current rate rise. There continues to be a very strong appetite from all 3 towns calling for council to hold public meetings, giving an explanation on the recent rate rise. There are many people worried about how they're going to pay their rates. I present you with this pile of newspapers. I'm not sure, can everyone hear me okay, and can they see this? Yep. So those pile of newspapers dating from the 29th of July, weeks of articles and letters to the editor on the South Wairarapa District Council rate rise. This includes articles extending wider afield to the Dominion Post even. It is absolutely evident that this matter is not going away and people are suffering. The council need to own up to why our rates are more than the proposed and adopted 14.28. You will recall that the chair of the Featherston Community Board, Mark Shepherd, emailed the CE and the South Wairarapa District Council asking to hold a public meeting for people as there was much confusion, anger and anxiety in Featherston. This was on the 22nd of July. Mark also indicated to me that he followed up with another email, this time to the Mayor and the CE on a public meeting in Featherston, to which he was denied. On the 28th of July, I presented to the Council on the poor communication throughout the LTP and the impacts the rate rise will have on our communities. I supported Mark with his call for a meeting and requested that meetings be held in all 3 towns, to no avail. I even called for a council public meeting on the rate rise at the Innovation Streets town meeting held on the 9th of August. Still to no avail. In response from the South Wairarapa District Council, or a response from the South Wairarapa District Council on a public meeting has been met with silence until Saturday the 14th of August, where our article titled "No Plan for Public Meeting" hit the headlines stating that council were not going to hold public meetings in favour of meeting people individually. A response from the South Wairarapa, on Monday the 16th of August, the Martin Borough Community Board unanimously passed a motion calling for the South Wairarapa District Council to hold a public meeting on the rates rise, noting that no councillors present abstained from that motion. Then lo and behold, the Mayor stated in yesterday's paper, and I quote, "The council was considering the best way to communicate with residents and had not ruled out a public meeting completely." In light of the most recent statement by the Mayor and the urgency of this matter impacting our communities, I booked a slot with the Greytown Community Board asking to speak on this matter, and I've intended to ask them about their supporting their neighbouring community boards. We're putting a motion to the table tonight calling for the council to hold a public meeting in your town. I believe the urgency of this matter, that is an item that can be considered through Standing Order 1.12, items of business not on the agenda which cannot be delayed. Thank you for putting this on the agenda, Anne, and I hope that you all understand the seriousness and consider this in your deliberations further on in the meeting. Any questions?
Staff? No? Any questions? Okay, thank you very much, Lee. That was very detailed. You've put an awful lot of time and effort into obtaining that information. So given that we approved that this could go on the agenda, I'm going to move now to the chairperson's report, which is 7.1. I move that the chairperson's report be received. Please raise your hand to be a seconder. Thank you, Alistair. I'm about to put the motion, so members, please unmute yourself. All those in favour, please say aye.
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 Anybody against?
Aye.
Is that an aye to say you're against, or just an aye?
An aye to accept your report, Anne.
Thank you. The motion is carried. Okay. As this was agreed at the beginning of the meeting, I'm now going to move to the agenda item, which is the rates meeting. Given the feedback and concern that has been shown by all three towns.
Sorry, Anne. Sorry,
yeah.
aren't we following the agenda? The agenda is to talk about the plan, the letters, isn't it? Aren't we going? Don't you want to go through the letters first and then come to your extraordinary item?
The letters.
The submissions.
The submissions.
With submissions for the Wahine Action Group and also...
Now I'm going to raise this first.
but that's a move from standing orders, Anne, if you do that.
That's an extraordinary item, so you deal with
Yeah.
the items on the agenda first, thank you.
I agree with Alistair.
Steph, do I have a say on where I raised this issue? Can I bring it
So
forward?
you had added it as part of your chairperson report. I would need to check on the order because it was added to be discussed under the chairperson report. I'm not sure if there's a rule around the order within the report. I'd need to check on that, but maybe go through the submissions first.
Okay, I'm quite happy to go
Advice.
through the definitions first and then come back to that. Okay, the Wahine River Plan. I'll now move to topic 1 in the chairperson's report. And if you look at page 4, we're looking at our submission for the Wahine Flood Management Plan. And as you can see, the submission emphasises and strongly recommends to Greater Wellington Regional Council the following: the vital importance of gravel extraction and the appropriate management of bed levels. Shelley, did you want to add something?
I do. I would like people please to consider the following wording. There's no big change, but I'm just adding a couple of words which I think are very important. So can I just read what I would like to see substituted? Under point A, I think it might be better if it reads, the vital importance of river management, including gravel extraction, appropriate management of bed levels, and river banks.
Sorry, can you just slow down a bit, please? The
Okay.
vital importance of river management,
Yeah.
of gravel extraction.
Hang on, I'll start again. The vital importance of river management, comma, including gravel extraction, comma, appropriate management of bed levels and river banks, comma, as determined by expert advice in the team, expert advice in the plan. So the only 2 words that I have added to this are the river banks. They are an important part of this whole river management thing. And unfortunately, they were left out of the original draft of this. So I'm asking that they be added this evening so that a better submission can be sent into GWRC tomorrow morning or this evening, whenever it needs to go through.
I'm comfortable with those changes.
You're happy with them?
Have you made a note of the changes?
Me?
No,
Yeah.
Stan.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you've got them.
Yeah.
Okay, people happy with those changes? Yeah,
Look, I think it's really important that riverbanks are actually included. It's not just about the water that flows down the river, it's what the river wants to be. And I've talked about that before, and as part of a Ruamahanga Whaitua member, we always talked about the riverbanks as well. So I think it's a really good thing to include at this point, and it rounds out the submission really well, Shelley. So thanks for putting those words together for that.
You're welcome. Thank you. It's an important thing for all of us. So got to
It
get
is
it right.
indeed.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you.
Well put.
Thank you. Okay.
right. So then B, the vital importance of ongoing, effective, timely and relevant communication and collaboration between Greater Wellington Regional Council, South Wairarapa District Council and the South Wairarapa community regarding the Wahine River Management Plan implementation, and C, the significance of this plan as a living plan to mitigate flood-related disaster of Greytown and to enable appropriate stakeholder engagement with the river and its environs over the long term. You all happy with that? D, the vital importance of Greater Wellington Regional Council and the South Wairarapa District Council working well together on river flood risk and hazard warning and mitigation processes and associated civil defence, emergency management, preparedness and response issues. The Greytown Community Board is concerned about the social and economic impacts to the region should the Flood Protection Service, risk mitigation and emergency response processes not fulfill their legislated requirements. This serves to strengthen our support for the Wahine Flood Management Plan. We consider ourselves fortunate to benefit from the commitment and expertise afforded by the whole project team. Now, anything that you want to add? Is there anything else? Are we happy with this document as it stands? Right. Can someone then please raise their hand if they will move to approve the Greytown Community Board submission to Greater Wellington Regional Council on the Wahine River Plan?
I'll move it, Anne.
Thank you.
Yeah, with the amendments as proposed by Shelley.
Thank you.
About to add that.
And do I have a second one?
Yeah.
Thank you. Please raise your hand. Sorry, no, I didn't put the motion. We've got the second there. I'm about to put the motion, so members, please unmute yourselves. All those in favour, please say aye.
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 All
Aye.
those against, please say no. The motion is carried.
And we're not hearing from the other members of the community board. I only heard Shelley, Alistair and myself then, not hearing from Simone or from Graham. Can we please make sure that they're actually here so that when we're passing motions across Zoom that we know that everyone is engaged in this, please?
Simone,
Yeah, it's just I'm having problems with this, my phone and my laptop, but I am
That's okay.
here.
Cool. Let's just
Okay.
take time to make sure everyone's speaking, please.
are you happy to pass this, Brian? Yeah, he's raising his hand. I'll take that as a yes. Okay. Okay, if we can turn to page 11, we've prepared a submission to the South Wairarapa District Council to advise them about our submission to Greytown Wellington Regional Council and Derek's submission asking the South Wairarapa District Council to take note and action as required. Can someone please raise their hand if they move to approve?
I'll propose that it goes as written.
Yeah. You're happy for it to go as written?
Yes.
Okay. Then I've got to move it. Do I have a seconder?
I'll second it, Anne.
Thank you. All those in favour, please say aye.
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 Anyone against, please.
Aye.
No. Okay.
Aye. Need to take the time, Anne.
Right, topic 2, the Wahine SH2 safety improvement and speed review. We're looking at page 40 of your document. If you've got a document.
And would you like me to speak to that? Because there were some of our community board members that weren't at the LTSA briefing and may not know why I suggested that we take compromise positions. If you'd like, for some of the community board members that weren't there.
Yeah.
So, when we looked at the submission and LTSA was speaking to us the other day, it was very difficult to get any, for want of a better description, any rationale between going from 100 kilometres an hour on State Highway 2 down to their recommended 80, when the incidents over the last 10 years or so would suggest there is not a significant problem on State Highway 2, but the problem is actually on the rural roads where most of the accidents and deaths have occurred. And then if you suggest that State Highway 2 is arguably the best and safest road in the district, given that it's the state highway, then how do you link the feeder roads and the rest of the rural roads into that if you're starting with a maximum speed of 80 kilometres an hour? By the time you get out to Ruakokaptuna Road, for example, you'll be walking slower than a horse. If you take that logic through, so I certainly couldn't see a link between going from 100 down to 80, but I could understand, given that it is not as good a state highway as some of the others, that a reduction in speed by their own data of 5 or 10% makes a 10 to 20% reduction in fatalities and serious harm crashes. Now that's on the data that they're presenting to us. So there was no data on it, what a 20% reduction would do. And therefore, my suggestion was that we have a compromise down to 90 kilometres an hour, which would then allow us to have a really good conversation with the community about the speed limits of the other rural roads in the district, and not just our district, but Carterton as well, because we're doing that review together. And that's why we've come up with paragraph 3 as it is.
Okay. And we're supporting the speed limits proposed in the urban area and around the school zones.
The urban area was very has been pretty popular and pretty easy to do because there are school zones there as well. Not so much on our state highway, on State Highway 2 for us, but on our feeder roads, you're still looking at that 30 to 40 kilometres an hour past the schools like Featherston and South Featherston, and then and then of course we have a real issue probably going to be raising its head with the main bypass in Martinborough that goes straight past Martinborough School. So you've got that heavy traffic bypass there, and then you've got the South Featherston, and I think there's 3 schools on the main road in Carterton. So it makes sense for those urban rules.
It does make sense, and that makes perfect sense. Yeah, but also in terms of the specifics for Greytown, suggesting a crossing opposite farmlands, as this would assist pedestrians getting to the new medical centre, and a roundabout at the Challenge intersection, given the increase in traffic attempting to access State Highway 2 north and south.
So for those of you that don't know the crossing opposite farmlands, if you go up that end of town, and I don't know how many sort of wander up there, it's by the red dairy there. There's the infrastructure is actually there, the edging and the thing is already there for a crossing. It's just never been painted onto the road for some reason. So the cost of putting it in is so small because the actual, all the sidings are already there. The edgings of the crossing are already in place. And then the challenge intersection is something that the council is trying to push through with LTSA because of the increased traffic flows.
Yeah, and we're very much in favour of that. So those are the suggestions. Can someone please raise their hand if they move to approve the board's submission to Waka Kotahi. Thank you, Alistair. And a second, Rebecca. Thank you. I'm about to put the motion, so members, please unmute yourselves. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
I
Thank you. All those against, please say no. The motion is carried. Right. Okay, that now brings us back to the rates meeting, which is the final item on the agenda, unless I have missed something. Steph, have I missed anything?
No, all good to go. Okay.
Good. All right. Given the feedback and concerns that have been shown by Greytown residents over the increase in rates set this year by South Wairarapa District Council, I would like to move that South Wairarapa District Council hold a public meeting in Greytown to clarify the reasons for the rates increase. Do I have a mover for that? Thank you, Gwen. And a seconder, Shelley. Then I will put it to the vote. Those in favour, please say aye. Raise your hand.
Aye.
1, 2, 3, 4. Those against or those abstaining?
I'm going to abstain on it.
Rebecca?
I'll abstain also, Anne.
Thank you. Can we make a note of 2 abstentions, please? Okay, that therefore goes forward to the council meeting with our approval for a public meeting in Greytown. Is there anything else that you would like to add on this issue? Shelley, do you have anything to say?
Well, I think that it's a very difficult situation that everybody's been put into. And I think, let's face it, local democracy has got to be seen to be in action. And if people are calling for a meeting in public, I think it behoves us to consider it, to actually meet with the public, and just people want to feel heard. We've got to show that we do actually care about the people that, you know, we're working towards and with and for, as all of us. That is my personal opinion. I know it's very difficult, that there are just so many different sort of thoughts on this subject, that everybody's situation is undoubtedly very different. But I think it might go a long way to calming some of the anxiety out there if there's just some bit of clarity for people and just something that is said. And you know, we're all in that position. We've all had a rate increase. I haven't met anybody who hasn't. So, you know, I think we just need to let people be heard and have them feel that they're being heard and listened to. Okay, so that's my bit on it. So, someone else?
Graham or Simone, do you want to add anything? They're probably muted.
No, I think it's just again just allowing people to voice their opinions. And I know there's quite a few out there that are struggling, so you know they need to come and just voice their concerns. I suppose that's how I feel for them. And as a community board member, we advocate for our people who have voted us in. So I think it's by right that we should allow them to speak and have their voice heard. So yeah.
Thank you, Simone. I agree. Graham, do you want to add anything to that? I think Graham might be on mute. Yeah, I agree. It is part of democracy. There are a lot of people struggling to make sense of what has happened. And they haven't been able to make sense of this through the communications that have gone out by the South Wairarapa District Council. So now we have to move to have that public meeting in Greytown to allow people to come and voice their concerns, and to allow the Mayor and the CEO to explain what has happened and why it's happened. So, right, we have voted, we've agreed that we want the public meeting. I know that Martinborough have also agreed that they want the public meeting. So this will now go forward to the council. And I certainly will be attending the council to find out what happens. I don't think there are any other items on the agenda. So thank you all for your attendance. And I think we've done quite well, really, given the fact that we all had to come in and Zoom, and we haven't done it for some time. So thank you very much for your help and your considerations, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the evening.
And just before we go, can I just check something? I'm sorry. Steph, you know that amendment to the submission, did you get all the words clearly?
Yes, I did. I can read out what I have just for clarity for everyone.
Yeah.
I have put to approve the Greytown Community Board submission to Greater Wellington Regional Council on the Wahine River Plan, subject to an amendment to point A to change it to the vital importance of river management, including gravel extraction, appropriate management of bed levels and riverbanks as determined by expert advice in the plan.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Steph. Good evening, everyone.
Yeah. See you, everyone.
See you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.